What's up, fam? Welcome back to the Steep Stuff Podcast. I'm your host, James Lariello, and I'm so excited to bring you guys an episode today with none other than Miss Jazmine Lowther. Super fun episode, really exciting one. You know, Jazz is mostly well known for the ultra distances. So we had a lot of talk between ultra and sub-ultra. We chatted about the Canyons 100K, which she'll be going back to, being a former champion, where she got her first golden ticket to Western States, and kind of cemented her name in the sport as one of the top females in the sport. We talked about the direction of the sport. We talked about racing. We talked about UTMB. We talked about coaching theory, and all different fun things with that, what it's like living in Squamish. We talked about the hard decision to leave the North Face athlete team and join Arc'teryx this past year, which was really cool. We got into some of Arc'teryx's shoe lineups and just kind of the team that they've overall shaped for 2025, and it's pretty rad. So really fun conversation. I really want to thank Jazmine so much for coming on the podcast. So without further ado, I hope you guys enjoy this one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Listen up, guys. The Steep Stuff Podcast is brought to you by Ultimate Direction USA. Guys, I am so excited. UD just dropped their new Race Vest 6-liter and Ultra Vest 12-liter in two beautiful aesthetic colors. You guys got to check these new vests out. They're dynamic in ways like that you just have never seen from an Ultimate Direction vest. Very stretchy, lots of storage, beautiful aesthetic colorways coming to you in a new, like a white and blue and an onyx and green. Just absolutely beautiful vests. I think these ones are just like some of the best products we've ever dropped, and I'm so excited for you guys to try them out. Hop on ultimatedirection.com and use code SteepStuffPod. Again, that's SteepStuffPod for 25% off your new vest. I mean, they're already affordably priced, but 25% off is just going to make it so much more affordable for folks in an already increasingly expensive trail running environment. So hop on ultimatedirection.com, get yourself a new vest, a pack, or any hydration solution, and let me know what you guys think.
Jazmine Lowther, welcome to the Steep Stuff Podcast. How are you?
Hey, thank you so much. I'm super stoked to be here. Yeah, it's another rainy day in Squamish, British Columbia right now, but we're getting through it.
I'm so excited to have a chat. I mean, some new photos popped up not too long ago. I think it was Connor Burksmith that shot them from you with this transition into Arc'teryx to joining the global Arc'teryx team, which is pretty awesome. So I was like, man, you just joined a new team. You're training right out of Squamish right now. Like, it's a great opportunity to have a conversation. So that's why I reached out, and I'm glad we were able to link up for a chat.
Yeah, there was a lot of big changes. Yeah, big changes all around.
For sure. Well, let's start off. Let's talk Squamish. I know you're there for a little bit. How's you said it's rainy? Like, it's funny. I'm friends with Adam Campbell and Jesse. Yeah. I've had Jesse McCauley on the podcast as well. And it just seems like such a, I don't want to say intense place to train, but like there are so many fit people per capita in that like one small area. Like, what is it like living and training there right now?
Yeah, I think there's just so many activities that you can do here. It's insane. And I've had so many conversations with people exactly on that topic, but it's also just like you will meet every day someone who's either in some specialized niche. It might be whitewater rafting or kayaking. It might be cliff jumping. It might be rock climbing, or people doing stuff all in one day. Like I just talked to someone who did like a massive gravel bike, ran, whitewater rafted, skied, like all in one day. That's like pretty normal here for sure. So yeah, it's just like a mixing pot, people from all over, lots of Europeans. It's in the summer, it is absolute paradise. It's where I learned how to trad climb, and it's got these huge, some of the biggest monoliths of granite in the world, and it's definitely very amazing rock to be on. And then yeah, right now the skiing is up high and it's been raining down low, but the skiing up high is quite good. And then down low, you can have trails year round that are snow free as well, for the most part. Yeah, so it's fun.
It's such a beautiful place. I've never been. It's on my list.
Mm.
Hopefully I can make it there this summer. I'd love to check it out. What is it like for a trail runner there? Is it like just paradise, like even in like rainy spring? Like how does that work?
Yeah, that is the question right now in my mind. I think it takes some getting used to, and it does rain a lot. It's the Pacific Northwest. So, yeah, I'm looking at the weather forecast right now, and it's like rain every single day. Sometimes you get some temperature swings where it's not quite so cold out. So, like, I don't know, in the 60s Fahrenheit, here and there into the 70s. But no, actually, no, not right now. Not right now. We had a false spring a few weeks ago, and that was too nice. And then and then yeah, so it says it rains a lot, and then some days it's like cold rain, which I find that the hardest mentally, because if you're about to go out the door for a long run and it's like just above freezing and it's going to be raining the entire time, I find that's so hard to prepare for,
Yeah.
no matter what clothing you put on. You know, like we always say, it's not bad weather, it's just bad clothing, or whatever the phrase is. And yeah, you know, you can have like the most waterproof gear, but if you're going to be out there for 4 hours in the soaking rain and you're trying to get some intensity in, it's like it's a mental load for sure. So I'm definitely learning to give myself some grace, find some creative ways, and then yeah, if it's not going to be sunny this weekend, which now it looks like it might be, but if it's not, then I'm going to go chase some sunshine, to be honest.
Nice,
So
nice.
yeah.
It's got to be difficult. Like I'm in Colorado Springs, and like we just
Mhm.
get. I mean, especially this year, we have just been so spoiled with like really not like no winter, like maybe a few
Yeah.
months here and there, and it's been so strange, but so warm. And I've been like, man, like I could live like this. This is not so bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been watching Hannah Allgood train in like
Yeah,
shorts and a t-shirt, and I'm like, what the heck? You're in Colorado. Come on. But yeah, I mean, and this is why I have the van too, and we might talk about this some more, but I'm like continually shopping around for, all right, where would be the place in US or Canada that I like actually want to put some roots down for the long term. And yeah, this past year I had lots of fun checking out different zones and might be doing that again this year. But yeah, so always open for some ideas.
yeah. You were in the Jackson area for or like kind of on the both sides, right, of the range, like kind of playing around over there. Like, what'd you think? That area is wild. Like, I don't know. You grew up in BC, so it's a little bit different because like I feel like there's more wild animals there. But like, I'm a boy from Florida, and like I've lived in Colorado for 5 years, and Colorado's just like overpopulated, so like I don't see too many animals. But when I went to like Wyoming for a Cirque Series race this summer, I was like, whoa, like there's like actually grizzly bears here. There's moose. Like you see animal life everywhere. Like what is that like for you? Like going to spend time in that zone?
Yeah, no, I love the Tetons. And I think for me, it's like the sheer relief. And it can be hard to find that in North America. And it's especially, it's just like so in your face, you know, you see that skyline and it just draws you in. I think, yeah, it's funny, like the bears I'm pretty used to. I will say there's a lot of moose there,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
on quite a few runs, you'll like almost run smack into a gigantic moose, which is also equally terrifying. But yeah, I think coming from Canada, I'm quite used to wildlife. So if anything, whenever I go to the States, it's always like, wait, you guys don't have to worry about this. Like it's so weird for me. It's almost like going to Europe, but then there's like pockets of where it's like, oh yeah, you actually do see cougar or grizz or moose and stuff. And then I also like the Tetons are amazing. And yeah, I think the one thing I struggled with as well was to get away from the crowds.
Yeah, big
Like
time.
I really loved getting up on Grand, Middle, South, or up on some of those peaks. And once you get past like whatever where the crowds tend to flock, you can still find that like, okay, I haven't seen anyone for a few hours, and it's still there for sure. Yeah, but it's funny because yeah, British Columbia, it's just so vast, and like you can't even put a dent on it like in a lifetime. It would take like thousands of lifetimes. Whereas in the Tetons, like I ran every trail in 3 weeks, and it was like, okay, where to next?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's
Or
crazy.
I got to get to the winds. I think the winds in Wyoming. Yeah, I want to go check out that zone, and it might be a little bit more bushwhacky and definitely more out there, but they look really cool. And then the Sawtooth Range also in Idaho. Yeah.
Yeah, I drove past, what was it? I threw Lander when I was driving out to Jackson. I was just like, there is nothing out here. Like the winds are legit. Like it's a cool range. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it seems very technical from afar. It seems, just super remote. So yeah, that sounds like an amazing place for sure to explore,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So let's transition a little bit. I want to get into one of the reasons that sparked this conversation was you just recently transitioned from being on the North Face athlete team to joining the Arc'teryx global team. Have you been able to pop down into like the Vancouver design area or design scene over there? Like, what's that like?
Yeah, it was so crazy. And I have to say, the welcome to the Arc'teryx team was like, oh, yeah, it's astonishing. And I can only hope that brands do things like this more and more. But it was almost like immediate. Myself and they brought on two new climbers onto the team as well. And yeah, we had like this big welcome, like met all of the internal staff, like literally everyone in the office. So we met like, I don't know, 100 people in one day. We're going around and just saying like hello and just checking out every corner, every nook and corner within the office. So like, yeah, the people who are designing products and testing them to like the color design people. And, you're looking at like images of color and what that color means. Where did it come from? Was it from like a funky lichen, or was it from a deep sea creature?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, there's just so much to absorb, definitely. And then we also got to tour one of the manufacturing plants, which was really interesting as well. And they employ like it's 600 to 700 like sewers, seamstress. Yeah, I don't know the technical word for that, but the people literally like making jackets. And yeah, they've got like kind of a factory line, and we just got to see like how many quality checks that they have, where their warranty returns go, or when they're doing the rebird where they like create something new out of it. Yeah, so it was really cool to see, and this was like right in Vancouver in North America. And yeah, I think it just drove home the quality and the craftsmanship behind the brand and the authenticity. And yeah, lots of our meetings have started off with like, we really want to be better humans, and better humans create better athletes. And yeah, I mean, I'm now talking on a weekly, if not daily basis with my athlete manager, as well as my team captain, who's Adam Campbell.
Yep.
And both of them are just like super supportive, want to reach out, see how things are going. Like recently I just rolled my ankle, and like the amount of concern that popped up, and like, hey, let's get you to see a physiotherapist like immediately. So yeah, it's super refreshing.
It's such a cool brand. Like, I don't know, Adam, like I said, Adam's a friend. We've had him on, and like he just really sold it, for people up and coming, or even, existing professional athletes, like just really put the sell on it. And then like a lot of like the little things too that I was like really impressed about. Like, what was it? Mental health counseling was something like he had said they offered, like just like little things
that most brands don't offer that I think like just go a long way and make a huge difference in like trying to, form a team and create a team and stuff like that, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think now, yeah, I've got like a physiotherapist who's providing strength training. The therapist is like a lead sports psychology. They've got like a PhD, and I haven't yet chatted with them, but I'm super excited to go down that road. And yeah, and then they also provide funding for education and safety. So I'm looking at like whether it's running focused and it could be about my coaching, or it could be like, oh, I need to up my wilderness first aid, which yeah, is top of mind right now. Or yeah, do I want to go into like guiding or something too? And it just like it opens up all these doors that not, yeah, it should be accessible. And then the long-term vision as well for athletes, like how some who have gone through their career as a professional athlete and then potentially they're sunsetting their like racing competitive side, but then going more into adventure expeditions or even like fully hired internally and are working on like shoe design or like Alana Yip, who's a climber. She's like an engineer on the climb design team. So yeah, there's like, it's very, very holistic for sure, which is sweet.
Not to go off on a tangent, but like that's something that like really intrigues me and is just like
Mm-hmm.
interesting. And I hope more brands go that direction. Like obviously you're still very young in the sport, but like look at Anton, for example. Like Anton just signed like a long-term deal with my sponsor, La Sportiva. And like now he's kind of in this like dual role where he's an athlete and will continue to be, but also it's this like hybridized role where he'll kind of move. I don't want to say in an office position, but like it's more design and like more input in the product design and things like that, which I don't know. I think like us as athletes, like I think athletes bring a lot more to the table than just like what they can do, whether it's on a mountain or whether it's on a trail. Like our design input, just the way we think is a little bit different. And I think there's a lot more that, athletes can bring to the table there that, I don't know, it's like kind of a tangent, but I just think that it's cool to see brands doing that more. And David Laney with Kraft, that's another good example. So you're seeing more of it, which is cool.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a win-win all around. It just, the athlete already knows the product so well. And like you say, they are going to be able to test it and it just, I think it's like you've created such a big, like your engagement is still there. Like Anton is still Anton and we still want to hear from him. And it's so cool to hear things like that. And I think, yeah, when I heard about David Laney doing that with Kraft, it really did make me be like, oh, respect Kraft. That's really awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's weird. I mean, like most athletes are contract athletes, right? Like 1099s, and it's like, well, whether you get injured, well, then you have to go find help. There's all these like different intangibles where it's like kind of on you, and like when you decide your career is over is like kind of when you decide, and it's or kind of not always. It's like it's like a weird thing. So
It
like
is.
it's just cool to see like brands like being able to like maybe bridge that so you can like actually like have a longevity in your career, whereas like it's not just like, well, one day you run your last race and then it's over and it's like see you later.
Absolutely. And I think just even when you are still an athlete and you're providing product feedback, that's also like one of the most rewarding, satisfying parts of the job. It's like, yeah, this week I got a whole bunch of tights and jackets that I'm testing out and talking to the product developers on a weekly basis. Like, yeah, this is working. Yeah, maybe this could like be switched up a little bit. And that's super rewarding and it feels important. It's like it allows you to buy in even more to the brand. And would love to see that continued for sure.
I had a serious one for you. You can answer this in whichever way you want to, and if you don't want to, I can always cut it out. It's just that like, so I've heard like I have a lot of friends on the North Face team, right? And like I've only ever heard good things. Like, was it a very difficult decision to be able to say, okay, I'm gonna like make this transition?
I think when people transition from brands, a lot is kind of left under the table, especially like to the public. And, there's like good reason for that, for sure. Yes, it was a really hard decision. I think for me, it came a little bit earlier than expected, and it was just, Arc'teryx wanted to get things moving, and I was actually still with the North Face until end of March. So I still would be with the North Face, but when you have such a beautiful offer on the table and it's like, this is an opportunity that I don't know will be there. Yeah, it was like, this is a no-brainer, but it's still very emotionally hard. I think when you're with a brand, you create an identity, or at least I did. And maybe this is learning for me, which, yeah, who knows if I'll actually disentangle myself going forward, but I did identify with the North Face, and it felt hard. It feels like, oh, all of a sudden this becomes a transaction and I'm no longer in this family, quote unquote. And I love that team. I love the people on the team, and I think it's hard to say goodbye. And that did it weighed on me a lot, and it was a very a little bit untimely. It's around Christmas and New Year's, and it was right down to the wire for sure. So, yeah, contract negotiations sometimes are drawn out and they can be quite long. And this one was almost the opposite. So, but sometimes you got to be right place, right time. And I did see this opportunity, and I'm super grateful that I went forward with it.
It's crazy. Well, first of all, thank you for being so candid and like being open about it. But second of all, it's crazy because like both are such a good fit for like an athlete like you with your style. But Arc'teryx, the reason I'll say it's like homecoming for you in a little bit because you're from BC. It's like it's just a little bit better of a fit just from an outsider's perspective. So very cool. And I'm excited to see like the new shoes and stuff like that they're coming out with. Like the LD is it the LD4 or LD40? That they have, which is sick. So lots of good stuff coming down the pipeline there.
Yeah, I think they're very ready to go to the next level with trail, mountain, alpine, ultra running, all of it. And so this is really year one of them like going full all in. And there's a lot more coming down the pipe for sure. So yeah, it's the Norvan LD4. I find them super versatile. So they are like lightweight, they're super agile, and they're kind of like that one fits all quiver type of shoe. I'm realizing I am kind of a Cylon girl just because my races right now are more like ultra, a mix of like mountain, but still runnable to steep. Not like crazy scrambling technical. Yeah, so those they have like more propulsion and like rocker and stuff like that. And then they do have the other lineup like the Vertex Speed and the Vertex Alpine, which are more like scrambly. Yeah, which I'm really stoked to test those out some more this summer once the rock is dry.
Yeah. I mean, their lineup is amazing. My best friend runs for Arc'teryx at the ambassador level. He's a Colorado ambassador, and he has serious goals to hopefully move to international or like North American level soon. And it's like, man, like it's just some of the stuff coming out of there is just really exciting. Like all the product design, everything's just like super badass. Really quick, I do have a question for you. Was it after Speedgoat they started talking to you? I had a feeling.
It was not quite. Yeah.
Adam's he's got a good eye for talent and like bringing people onto the team, it seems like.
Yeah, well, it's funny because Adam and I had talked like 3 or 4 years ago, and he's honestly been my mentor like since day one. Like after I think it was even before I did canyons, I was already like, Adam, what do you think about this? Or like, Adam, how do you, yeah, because it was before actually I did my first 100-miler, and I would like pester him about, nutrition or like, what should I put in my drop bag? And he's just like always been a mentor to me. And yeah, so our level of contact was like in and out. And then, I mean, this truly did come about quite late in the season. So it might have been after Cape Town, actually, when the
Oh,
serious
wow.
conversations happened.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That's quick. That's amazing. Cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I think, oh, actually, I got one more. I have one more question about it. So
Yeah.
you kind of announced it early. I saw it on
Yeah.
Free Trail, and then you pulled
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
back off your Instagram.
Yeah.
Was that, were you waiting for them to do the official announcement, or what happened with that?
Yeah, I honestly botched it, and it just gives light to my newbiness for all of it. But no, yeah, we had like everyone was on holiday. And so we had like a date down the line for like the announcement. I don't think we had talked about that though quite yet. So I was kind of like, all right, January 1st, am I gonna put it up? And then people were like skiing and on holidays, and I was like, all right, all the employees take their holidays like really seriously, and this is great. But yeah, I was kind of just waiting, and then finally, when people got back into the office, I realized my mistake, and whatever. They were like, no, that was totally fine for Debo to give a little shout out there. So yeah, no harm done.
No, I think it was awesome. Like just like the fact that like Free Trail's involved and like making these announcements for like free agency and stuff, I think is totally dope. It's very cool.
Yeah, I mean, this year was insane for the amount of swaps and surprises and everything. So, yeah, it's lots of like new brands coming out and shifting and brands taking a step back, and yeah, it's just it's interesting to see where trail is going for sure.
It's a crazy landscape. But I see good things and I see bad things. I see things getting more expensive, which I think as an athlete is like, that's a bummer for like the average athlete. But then also I see like the product innovations are crazy. Like we just dropped the new Prodigio Pro and I'm like, damn, it's a serious shoe. Like you guys have amazing shoes coming out. So it's like the innovation has just like it's going to continue to push. Plus nutrition innovation as well is getting crazy. Yeah, there's just so much out there to progress the sport. Like the sport's going to be unrecognizable in the next 5 years, which is wild.
Yeah, it is wild. And yeah, now it feels like the future of, oh my gosh, I don't even know all the technology that's coming out now. It's like, stop.
You know, it's funny. You're a coach. I do want to talk about your coaching business and some of your stuff. Dude, it's so funny. So I'm self-coached now, and I've been working on like a mesocycle for like 2 mesocycles for like the next to get ready for a race in June. Like I have a speed block, and then I've got like a more specific block, and I've been using like ChatGPT, and it's like helped me immensely. And I'm like, what the hell? Like this thing is like legit. Like I'm like just like, you know, I'm like, and I even give it the race, and it like can find it for me, and I'm like, yo,
Wow.
this is wild. As a coach, that's got to be really frustrating because like the human touch is everything. Like I'm not that I'm anti AI, but like I'm not the biggest proponent of it because I don't like the idea of it taking people's jobs. I don't like us being glued to screens. Like it's not very natural. But like as a coach, I know this question's a little out of left field, but like what does that mean to you? That's got to be like frustrating, and like what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's a good question. And I feel like when ChatGPT first came out, it was like, yeah, no, this isn't gonna like be replacing these sorts of jobs where I think that human interaction is super important. I think, and then I was just reading an article how researchers are using ChatGPT because AI can basically filter through like, thousands or more than thousands of like other research papers and do like a lit research review, and they can do that in like an hour or less, seconds maybe. Whereas like if you're hiring an assistant, that will take, a week at minimum. Yeah, and then it's just fascinating to see where it goes. But I think at the end of the day, that human interaction is quite important. And when we do use ChatGPT, you get those responses and it's like kind of dull. And, we've probably all, well, maybe have tried like asking it for a prompt, and maybe it's for helping us write an email or a caption or a draft paper. And whenever I read what it puts out, it can sometimes be okay, but it often lacks personality for sure. So I think that that's one aspect. And with the athletes that I work with, communication is like number one. That's like the foundation for the coach athlete relationship. And I give I provide like my intention with every athlete is I'm going to be checking in with them at least 2 times a week minimum. And I don't want there to ever be like crickets between myself and the athlete. We need communication to build trust and to really understand like what's going on in their life. Is there work stress? Is there relationship stress? How's their nutrition going? And lately I've been working with people who have had major trauma in their life, loss of a loved one, or they've gone through a relationship separation. I don't need to know like I don't need to become their therapist, but I think understanding mental health is very crucial to be a coach. And like, I don't want to be adding load or stress to their plate when their body is already like at its limits. And that might be like an emotional load that they're carrying. Another thing, like I'm working with lots of people who are coming back from either broken bones or stress fractures. And I'm really happy that people reach out when they've had an injury and they're like, hey, I'm ready to get a coach. And it's like, great. Like, I mean, not great that they've had an injury, but it's like, let's make sure that your return to run is safe. And, whether they've dealt with low energy availability or low iron or some sort of hormone injury as well. I think that part also has like a psychological aspect to it too. Yeah, so I'm huge on the holistic training, and that's how that's why most athletes choose to work with me, because I do think that human component is so key for successful training and like healthy long-term training as well. So yeah, and I've chosen to go this way because every coach that I've worked with, they've all been great, but I've always felt like, yeah, we're still missing something. And that usually was like the human factor. And like, it's not just a training plan, it's someone's life that in some ways, we're adding structure or control to. So yeah, that's my long-winded answer.
No, I really liked it. I was gonna I have to give you your flowers too, because like you're first of all, your website's amazing. Not too many athletes update their websites, and like yours is like up to date with like even like upcoming races. I was like, yes, you made life so much easier for me. But it was just a very very obvious to me as an athlete and someone that has a good idea of like training theory and stuff like that. Just like reading some of your articles and some of the things that you've written for Strava stories and stuff like that. I was like, wow, like you have a very good idea. Just like you have like a wealth of knowledge and experience about a lot of topics, some related to women, and like Red S and stuff like that, but also, just like extreme amount of knowledge for like injury prevention, just things like that. I was like, damn, like I was impressed, like good stuff there. So yeah, kudos to you. How did you,
Thank you.
I'm just curious, like, how did you get into coaching and like what inspired you to start doing it? You kind of like briefly answered it, but.
Yeah, I got into it. So my full circle back to trail running, when I was young, I did cross country and things like that. And then throughout my teenage years, I did like sports and stuff. And then I did rock climbing for like a decade. And then full circle, I came back to trail running around COVID. And my first ultra race, I mean, my training was god awful, but
Still
I may have won, and that really opened my eyes. But immediately I started working with a coach. It was actually the race director, Dave Stevens. He's a phenomenal Canadian ultra runner. He really got me into the sport, and he's like, hey, let me coach you. And through the coaching and working with him, I learned a few things about myself. It was like, well, I really love the science behind training. And my background as a biologist and studying biology for years in university, it was just like, oh, give me more. Like I would just tear up books. I think we all start with like whether it's Scott Jurick's book or the Born to Run, and then you just go on from there. And then you're like learning about the physiology, anatomy, biomechanics, everything. So I definitely like fast forwarded my understanding behind it. And I think a year or two had passed, and then I started to just work coaching with some friends. It's just like the classic, it's almost a meme. It's like, hey, I can start coaching you. But, I was like doing it for free or like very cheap, and it was just like a side little hobby. And then with time, that grew and grew, and I started working with different coaches for myself. And with every coach that you work with too, I'm sure you felt this, you learn from them.
Yeah.
You learn different ways to apply theory, what you like, what you don't like as an athlete. And so all of those experiences I'm super grateful for. And then, fast forward canyons, I started working with the North Face, and I came to this decision of like, all right, should I or could I jump ship from my full-time job as a biologist, which was like super near and dear to my heart. I loved it. But it was also getting in the way of me being able to train and like really become not a full-time professional athlete, but like be able to take it to that next level.
Yeah.
And doing lots of field work. You're out on your feet all day, traveling a ton. And I will say I worked with a lot of boomers and love them, but like they did not understand at all. And I was definitely the black sheep, and they're just like, you what? You want to do what? Like, so yeah, there's some
have a 401k. Wait, you don't want to stay in a job for 40 years? Like, no.
Yeah. Yeah. What? Your number one passion isn't your job?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do a whole podcast on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I took the leap. And for anyone who's ever done a career search, you understand like it's terrifying. You're like, I have no idea what's going to be for me on the other side. If I'm going to make ends meet, if like, how am I going to pay the bills, all those things. And I just said, okay, let's do it for a year. And if I'm at like net zero, that's a win. Because basically this is like restarting a full career. And I took lots of courses on coaching. I did like strength personal training courses, mental psychology training. And I dove fully in. So and from there on now it's been super successful to the point where I either always have a wait list, and I'm like, here are some other coaches that you can work with. So yeah, it's been very rewarding. And as you know, as a coach, it's like you get to meet so many cool people from all over the world. And just everyone has a really cool story to be able to share a small part of their journey. So
I feel like that's a really fun aspect too, is getting to meet so many different people that like come from all different walks of life. Like one person training for their first ultra versus someone training for like their 30th, right? It's like everybody's got a different experience. One of the things that I thought was really cool on your website, and I was going to ask you if you had one planned or if you're going to bring it back, was the retreats, the retreats that you were doing. Yeah, that seemed so rad. Like what was the idea behind that? And do you plan to do another one?
Yeah, the retreat was, it was like, let's bring a bunch of people together to this cool zone and be able to share it, go out on some trails. I really, really wanted it to have like an educational aspect to it. So we did end up doing like 3 workshops. I put it together with my friend, Eva Gifford, she's also a talented chiropractor who's very progressive in her practice, and then also a very awesome ultra runner. So Yeah, we had like workshops, and it was in this beautiful lodge, wood lodge setting, and it's usually a ski lodge in the winter. So they actually had like a full-time chef that they offered us, and the food was like, oh, so good, like all these fresh ingredients, and like huckleberry cheesecake at the end of the day, or
Wow.
or whatever. So good. And I think the overall experience, it made me realize a few things. Like, people just want to get unplugged, and it was like so nice for whether they had kids and they could like get away and just like fully unwind and relax, or people just wanting to like invest in themselves and learn a little bit more. And then lots of people just like coming together and sharing, the love of running together. And yeah, so I would love to do them again in the future. I think it can be tricky in terms of timing around races. So that's one thing that I'm just trying to, maybe it's not like an annual thing or like every once in a while. I will say some conversations are in the works right now, so
Nice.
stay tuned. It might not be this year, but it might be down the road to host some more retreats. And yeah, could be somewhere really cool. So I've got a few locations on mind.
Super. No, it's super cool. That's the reason I asked, because it was like one of the more unique things. And it's like, so we have our 1 year party for the podcast like this week. And it's like,
Nice.
and it's the first like thing I've ever planned that's like, I guess I'm not really an event person, like putting just stuff together. And I'm like, wow, this is uber complicated. And it's like trying to juggle that with training, with my day job and a podcast. It's like, yo, this is a lot of work. So I always give I always give kudos to people that can like manage all, like just juggle a billion different things and like pull it off, and make it look flawless, which is kind of cool. So yeah, it's
Yeah. Yeah. Especially the first time. And I think it might be like location dependent as well. It's like, do you need permitting, or do you need a bus to get people from A to B? Or yeah, there's so many different ways to go and host a retreat or even to attend one. And it's kind of like, yes, I see there's lots of retreats out there, and maybe it's like more educational, maybe it's more location and travel exploration focused. Maybe it's like just getting unplugged and just the community building. And yeah, they are very special. And even like for myself, it's like, oh, that would be pretty cool to go for a running retreat, like in Morocco or something like that.
Yeah, it's so unique. Like nobody does it unless like you're part of a team that like happens to like, for instance, like when you were with TNF, they do like they always do like these crazy retreats like all over the world. So stuff like that is like pretty dope. I don't know, like better than like sitting in a classroom in Boulder, Colorado. I don't know.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, most brands now are doing like either a running camp or some sort of summit. Yeah, so with the Arc'teryx team, we're meeting up in Portland pretty soon, because there's the testing facility there, and like the shoe development team are all down there, and then we might go cheer on. Well, we are going to go cheer on the Gorge 100K and stuff like that. So that'll be super rad.
Nice. That's going to be a fun race. It's going to be a lot of people there this year.
There will be. Yeah.
It's going to be rad. All right. So I do want to get into racing and competition. I do want to just go back in time for a second. Like I want to talk about 2022 Canyons, because like that was like the race that kind of put you on the map, maybe life-changing in one way or another. To come in and like totally demolish like Beth Pascal's record that year. And like, obviously it was a different course. What I'm trying to draw the parallel.
Yeah. It was like the same course. I will say I did not demolish.
Close. I like to build you up a little bit.
Thank you. Kudos. No, Beth Pascal is like a huge idol to me. So just to be like basically on par with her was amazing. It was incredible.
Western States winner, which is crazy. Yeah. Beth Pascal is like, legend, absolute legend of the game. 2022 was a crazy year, because like we were just coming off the COVID year. Like that course was probably my favorite Canyons course, because that was the one that ended at like China Wall. Is that correct?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
tell me, like, what was that experience like for you to go win that race? Because like that had to have been like to that point, like the biggest win of your career.
Absolutely. I mean, that entire day, it was like hilarious. It was shocking. It was completely unexpected. It was all of those things. And I mean, even now I can think back and just like everything about it was hilarious. For majority of the first half, I was just like in disbelief and convinced that like, no, everyone is super wrong. There's no way that like, there must be a group of 10 women ahead of me. And um, yeah, just like from the very start, and for anyone who's ever lined up, it's like, and you're running a new distance and in all these things, it's like you don't really know your own potential. And yeah, you believe in yourself, but you're still scared. And it's like, you know, yin and yang, those two things. So I remember being behind all the elite women and being like, wow, like so cool to meet these people. And yeah, and then it starts and there's shuffling and there's kind of chaos and you're not sure where anyone is. And you're on this road, but then it quickly narrows to a trail and it becomes like quite a bottleneck. That was the course before, and I remember getting in that bottleneck and being like frustrated because I thought I was behind all the lead women, and then once you hit, you get I'm not sure, I forget what it's called, but the trail widens to basically like a quad track, but it's super buff and everything, and you're along the river. And at that point, I saw there was like a group of headlamps ahead of me, and like definitely running probably faster than I should have for 100K. And I was just trying to catch up with what I thought were the lead women. Yeah, no, they were the lead men. And so I was like trying to chase them down for a good while. Even the first aid station, that's when it started to like kind of dawn on me, and I had ran past the race director, Chaz, and he was like, first woman. And I'm like, no, I'm like 10th woman. And so, yeah, anyways, that just kind of kept happening. And then by the second aid station, I was like, oh my gosh, this is real. Okay, like, can't mess this up. And it was just full switch, which really cool to see like the psychology. And I think any runner who's ever been in first place, you realize like, wow, this is such a privilege, and it gives you so much fire. It's like I want to keep this, and it just lights this fire under you, and so I just used that to fuel me for the entire race, and just yeah, it was a pretty special day for sure.
Some people, like, it's interesting, right, when you're in that position, because it's some people fold and they're like,
Mhm.
maybe have imposter syndrome or like, I shouldn't be here. And then
Mhm.
other people are like, damn, like I belong here. And like, that's kind of what you did. Like you belong there, and you push yourself to a win, which is just like, I don't know, so crazy. But like, did you lead from start to finish basically then?
Basically, yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. That doesn't happen too often, and like from a dominance perspective in like these types of races, which is crazy. What I was getting at with it
Mhm.
is I don't want to keep us in the past. Was from what your website said, you're planning on going back this year. Like what's the emotion there? Like, are you excited to go back? Are you putting any pressure on yourself? Obviously it's a different course, so there's a little bit of difference to it. Like, what are your thoughts going back to it?
Yeah, I've been trying to get back to it for a while. It's funny though, training northerly for these races, and even though for some people it's not an early spring race, but for some people it's a very early race. So yeah, it is quite a different course. So I'm trying to focus a bit more on that, and I'm still curious or exploring like the psychology or mind shift for races that you've done repeatedly.
Yeah.
And I think I know for myself and my personality, I definitely see them, I put more pressure on myself. to be fully honest, like absolutely, I put way more pressure on myself repeating a race, and maybe that's why I try to avoid it. Um, yeah, but I see people, even like we just watched Killian and Walmsley tearing down at Chianti. It's like you look at runners, athletes that repeat races all the time, and it's like, yeah, you're not always going to beat yourself, and that's probably what we want, and going to aim for that, absolutely. But yeah, I think sometimes you got to give yourself some grace, and like, of course, I'm going to have all of my goals laid out for sure. But at the end of the day, it's like just do the best that you can on the day of, and it's still going to be okay if you don't beat yourself. But absolutely, I want to, and it is a very different course, so it should be much faster. And like Katie Scheid put down a phenomenal time on it last year. Was it last year? I think so.
Yeah. Did she win? Yeah. No, was it? Yeah,
Or
last
was it
year she won Western States. Was it 2 years ago already? No.
Maybe it was 2 years. Oh gosh.
Oh my god, I'm in the same boat. I give myself a handicap because I'm a sub ultra.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm pretty sure she's got the course record on it right
She absolutely
now.
dominated, but you're right. I can't remember if it was last. Wait, did she pull off the Western States UTMB double last year? I gotta pull myself out from under a rock because I honestly do not remember. I know she pulled off. Yeah, I think she did.
She did. Yeah.
Okay.
I was at Western States. Years just blur together.
Yeah, I know, for real. I feel like I'm still in 2022 or 2023, and I wake up and it's like, oh no, this is 2025.
No, yeah, I did crew one of my past teammates, Elsie Davis, at Western States last year, and it was really cool to watch Katie coming through, and there'd always be like this little crowd of like super young girls all like really excited, like, when's Katie coming? When's Katie coming? And then when she came through, like, yeah, it was pretty cool to watch that.
Katie's an inspiration, man. Like, oh my gosh. Yeah. Like that whole like women's field was insane last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just a fun race to watch. If you, not like I said, we're not putting any pressure on this. If you do get on the podium or win, is your intention, because I also saw UTMB on your list for this year as well. Is your intention to go to Western States, or is UTMB going to be more the draw for this year?
Yeah, that's the question. I think on a lot of people's mind, but definitely on my mind, and it's going to be a dilemma. And I am trying to choose one or the other, but there's a few things that are pulling me in either direction. I had planned this year for it to be focused on Western States and get to World Champs. Yeah. Alternatively, like UTMB is definitely, it's like burning up my list, and I got to get there and take a crack at the 100 miler. And now also being with Arc'teryx, it would be really special to go to UTMB with them for like, it'll be their first big year with a number of athletes showing up there. And, they've got a store now in Chamonix, and there's people coming over, internal staff who have never been. And part of me is like, oh, I really want to be there just to share these really special moments with them. So I'm kind of being tugged both ways, but also just resting on not making a decision yet.
Yeah.
And just see how things go. And I think every year it's like we can make a beautiful race schedule, but often who knows how much of that is going to happen. And yeah, I might add in Speed Goat. I might add in a race in Europe, maybe in July. Yeah, it'll depend on a lot of things. So
cool. I think it's more fun to be fluid, right? And just like have a couple things, and it's like, all right, I'll try to get to this. And as opposed to like, I've always found in the past where if I like make a schedule, like start to finish, like, and by the time I get to the end of the summer, like I don't want to do anything I set out to do. And like that, if I set the goal in like February, by the time I get to September, I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. So it's kind of funny the way those things work. Obviously it's a little bit different with races like UTMB because it's already like annoying to get into that race, or Western States, which is impossible to get into as well unless you have a ticket. But like things like that, I do want to pivot a little bit to, because I forgot you're from BC, you're a Canadian. How does that work with getting into Worlds for you?
Yeah. So I think it's kind of similar for Americans and most Europeans, but we have it's kind of like two different ways to get in, and they actually already had the qualifying race. So it was at Squamish 50/50 last year. So a number of people are already on the team. And I think there was like a shorter race in Quebec.
Yep.
Yeah, so there was those two, which I did not attend. So my only option would be going through the resume CV alternate route. And so they basically look at like your racing history, and yeah, like I'd be applying for the long distance on the team. And yeah, so we shall see. And then for the Americans, like the Gorge and Broken Arrow is happening. And so those are going to be like
Crazy.
quite crazy to watch for sure. Yeah, it's funny how it lines up at different times of the year. So it's hard for people. Like I feel for the Americans who, well, I don't know, maybe it's good that they're doing their race, the Gorge early in the season. But
I don't think so.
yeah. No.
I'm like, man, this is a mountainous race in the Pyrenees. What the hell are we picking Gorge Waterfall? I mean, like, I'm just speaking for everybody else. Like, I've had Tom Hooper on, and we've talked about this like oodles of times, but like, yeah, it's the timing, which just sucks.
It's hard. Yeah. It's honestly, it's hard, like in some ways, no matter how you tackle it. I don't know. I think the whole World Series, they need to like have a little bit more of a plan, or like how it works that also works more with the athlete schedules. Like honestly, it's super disappointing that it's so close to UTMB.
Yeah.
And it's going to water down both competitions, and why not have it spread out a little bit more? Like,
I agree.
Yeah, it's taking away opportunities, and I don't know. Yeah. So
Interesting. Now, I couldn't agree more. And I think on the American side too, it's like, all right, are they gonna turn down? So let's say you apply resume, right, on the American side. Like, are they gonna turn you down because you're gonna be doing UTMB? Like, let's say Jim, for instance. Like, Jim's like our, are probably our best shot, right, in a lot of ways. Like, Jim's as dynamic as they come. And it's like, all right, are you going to turn Jim down because he's if he's going to go run UTMB? Like, what do we do with that? It makes it an interesting conversation for sure. There's a lot of nuance to the argument.
It does. Yeah. And it should almost be a conversation, like, I know for road marathon athletes, when they sign a contract to do whatever, Boston or New York, it's like in that contract, they cannot race anything else. I don't know, 6 or 8 weeks out or something like that. And that probably should be in the conversation for Worlds. And some people are thinking about double dipping. Like, I mean, I was considering doing OCC, which wouldn't really be favorable for my skills in terms of going against like Golden Trail athletes and stuff like that. But it could be a good learning experience, and then hop over to Worlds. There's risk though. It's like 3 weeks apart, and you don't know what's going to happen. So
you brought up something interesting there with by saying contract. I was like, the reason I say that is because like I haven't come across many athletes, if not any, where like for instance, UTMB can sometimes be an incentive, right, to go race those races, but like yeah, I don't think Worlds is ever an incentive for anyone. I have never heard it been brought up, so that's interesting.
No, yeah, most brands are not super keen to support athletes towards it. Yeah, usually you have to wear a different brand attire, and I mean it's you can usually wear their shoes still, so there's that. And then I think it's getting there in terms of the traction and the engagement and people watching it. It's still like, it is a special outing, and the last few years that they've done it, they've done a very good job, I think. And it's really cool. It's kind of like the closest thing we've got to the Olympics in terms of like wearing your national flag. I will say like UTMB and even like Western States or Golden Trail, all these races are pulling the most competitive fields right now in the trailer, which also worlds, it's been stout. It's been like super, super, the performances that people have put on there is wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be curious because you seem like I got to ask you your opinion on some of these things. Like, what's your take? And we can cut out any of this you don't like. It's fine. But like, I'm just curious, like, what your take is. You've ran a few UTMB races, right? Quite a few. You're one of the biggest female athlete names in the sport. Like, what's your take on like where the UTMB situation is and like consolidation of races in the sport versus like maintaining this like grassroots vibe that we have, but also making sure we can attract like elite level talent to a lot of these races? Like, what's your take on that?
Yeah, it's kind of mixed, and I think, where to start? Okay, so I do parts about UTMB that I appreciate. It's like, all right, they are providing podium incentives for athletes. They're providing an experience for all athletes, recreational, whatever, everyone. They typically do a good job in terms of like safety and marketing, or marking the course. Just because they have, it's almost like they have like a standard internationally, though that is to say, like some of these races, as we've all probably heard, like the first year of X UTMB race, there's some growing pains and like I'm sure that every race director for a UTMB race, they're going through it and learning and yeah. So I think it is good to have like safety and like some standards down for races and stuff. And then, the magical carrot of getting to the UTMB finals for everyone. It's like we all crave that buzz, that energy before UTMB and being there at the season capper event. And I mean, there's so much fervor. It's like it's insane. Yeah, and that to me is super special. And I think just for anyone getting into the sport, myself very much included, UTMB is like that is the number one race that I want to get to and take my crack at it. Yeah, a few times. Yeah, and then of course it's unfortunate. Like it's hard to fully know what the intention behind the people running UTMB and Ironman and do they always have the runners' interests at heart? And from some of the obvious like missteps that they've taken, it's super disappointing. It's like, come on guys, like, all right, apologize and learn from this and do better. For me, the UTMB Whistler race, it's so bittersweet. It's like, dude, come on. Like, what were you guys thinking? On the one hand, it would be so great to have 1 or 2 or 3 races in Canada and to show off this beautiful country. There's so many beautiful places to run, and it just provides an opportunity to people more locally. They don't have to always travel and, yeah. And then Gary Robbins being like an awesome person with such a community, or he's created so much community. It was just disappointing for sure. Yeah, I did not take a stance of like, I'm gonna go so far to boycott, but I am going to be like supporting conversations that are healthy and, it's cool to see Gary Robbins creating more races in different locations and stuff like that. And then I hope that they're learning from all of this. And yeah, I do sit on the Pro Trail Runners Association, so lots of conversation has been had with UTMB, and they are receptive to feedback and things like that. Yeah, I do see we're trying to shape this quickly growing sport.
Yes.
And we're having these like weird outgrowths right now. And it's like, okay, is that going to keep going, or is this like the future? Yeah, so I think we'll all be seeing like where it's headed, and um yeah, there's a lot to talk about, and like, they're creating more races in other countries and things like that, which I think is really great to have opportunities for those people in those locations. I think we all, very much myself included, just have to like think about how much we're traveling on a yearly basis, and it can be quite hard. And as a professional athlete, it's like, okay, how can I just limit my travel to Europe once a year,
Yep.
For my carbon footprint and for my body, but mostly for the carbon footprint. Yeah, so that's always on my mind. And then for the mom and pop races out there, like I wouldn't be here without mom and pop races. And I think they are, whether they're like that first stepping stone for some people who like really take this and run with it, whether it becomes a career or like their main passion, or they're just like an amazing like nesting ground for local communities. And so my long answer short is just like they're both important to have those mom and pop races and the bigger UTMB races. I do think if a race director wants to have a competitive field, which this happens quite often, where a race director will be like, hey, do you want to come to my race? And like, that's all great and everything. But yeah, if you want to have people doing this and it's like their livelihood and stuff, like, I don't know, having a podium bonus of like $500 or something, like, I just think it's 2025. Like, yeah, I think we're at that time now where I even look at Western states. It's like, well, why is this still a race where there's no prizes or
It's
anything?
crazy.
And
Absolutely crazy.
yeah, so yeah, I'm not in it for the money per se, for sure, but it's also like this sport is professionalizing, and I think that races need to recognize that, if they want a competitive field.
I think there's so much to talk about and unpack there. Like so many I mean, one thing with the money and getting prize or just like winning prize money in general, like I don't know, like you said, like I don't know. I know you said you're on the PTRA. Like I'm like very pro athlete as opposed to anything else. So like, of course I want the athletes to be able to make as much money as humanly possible, because like this is a finite sport. We don't last very long in this sport. And, a lot of folks, many folks go all in and try to figure this out, make very little money and have very short careers. So it's like, and what do you have after? So like for me, I'm like one of the conversations that came up recently, and we don't have to go deep into this, was like Sabrina Stanley like signing with OnlyFans. A lot of people had a lot of opinions on that, and like everybody can reserve their opinions, but like the only opinion I had was like, dude, I hope she makes $1 million. Like, good for her. Like, go crazy. I hope you make the bag and can retire. Because I don't know, it's just a sport where like there's not a lot of money made. So with the professionalization, it would be cooler and just better for everyone involved for there to be more prize money. And I get it. Like I sit on the board of a race. I know how these things are allocated. Like I understand like it can be difficult, but like why not go to external sponsors and see if they can put up prize money? Like there's always opportunities there to at least give something, right? So, yeah.
Totally. Yeah. Yeah, no, that's where it's interesting times, and people are solving it in different ways. And And it is interesting. It's like, okay, is this going to become like the new normal? Like, are more people going to go that way to like external, non direct sponsors and things like that? And yeah. And then I guess with like the OnlyFans thing, it's like this has been in our sport for a little bit. And it is interesting. It's like, okay, if this were a man, would the conversation be different?
Yes,
I don't
yes,
know.
yes. You know, it's funny.
Yeah.
I got so pissed the other day, and I'm not gonna name who it was, but like it was
Mhm.
just like three dudes debating like on a podcast about like what they thought about Sabrina Stanley, like signing with OnlyFans, and I was like, who the hell gives you guys the right, like three dudes, to be able to say
Mhm.
like whether this woman can like make like money like in whatever
Yeah.
she chooses to do? Like I don't understand like why you're friend, because if it was a dude, I think it would be a completely different like mindset in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think in cycling or something, there is a cyclist, a male cyclist who had was doing OnlyFans. But yeah, it's interesting. I think my only thing is like, all right, I do want to be a role model for the next generation.
That's true too. Yeah.
And so that's like my main caveat with it is, all right, even after I ran Cape Town, I had like 6 moms with their little girls all reach out with like a video of them talking about it afterwards. And it's just like, oh, this melts my heart. Um, so yeah, I don't know how you can separate those two different things. On the one hand, it's like cool, like there's different creative ways of making money, and like maybe they even I think the other rhetoric of like, oh, women are getting forced to do this because we're not getting paid equally. And the pay gap might still be there for sure, but I wouldn't say it's like, I don't know. The force isn't, I don't know. It's not like um we don't have other options as well. And maybe it's like certain people want to do that too. It's yeah. So yeah, no, it's interesting times.
Yeah, options. I just like that. You know what? I'm glad that athletes have options, right? Like you can
Mhm.
sign with Adidas Terex, or you can sign with OnlyFans now and have fun.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's interesting.
totally.
So back to the consolidation. Like I think we live in this world now. You know, I was not. I don't want to say I'm anti UTMB. I think what they put on is the Super Bowl. I think it's amazing. Some of those races like OCC, CCC, and UTMB are just like the pinnacles of our sport in a lot of way. I was actually like kind of swayed a little bit this past weekend, like when Jim and Killian and Vincent like duked it out. I was like, and you know, I got to wake up at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning and watch this like from Colorado and watch these guys do this in a sport that I love so much. And I was like, damn, like that's the value I think a little bit like UTMB brings. Like you could watch this on a live stream and you get to
Yeah.
watch three of the best athletes in the world like kill each other. Well, not really. Like Jim really was pretty decisive, but anyway.
Yeah, demolished.
Yeah, but like that was demolished. But yeah. It was just cool to follow. So that kind of shifted it, like my perception a little bit. But also, I was like, I think we can live in a world like this isn't going to be triathlon, like where I think we can live in a world where we'll be able to have both. You know, hopefully. I don't think the UTMB consolidation, like especially in North America, seems to have like slowed down at least a lot. You know, so I don't know. I think we can have everything.
Yeah. I think we can have both. And running is still growing, you know. Yeah. We're gonna have the mom and pop races, like even my hometown, Nelson, BC, I just saw, okay, it's got 2 new mom and pop races, like, and they're selling out, you know. So that's awesome. And we can have retreats or camps as well. And they're all just different ways of experiencing the sport, you know, like some people don't even want to race, and it's whether they just want to go out and do crazy adventures, or like someone I'm coaching even right now, she's like, I just want to go run my own 100-miler, you know. And we're like creating a course and mapping it out and plotting her aid stations and everything, but she's going to run it by herself. She's going to have some friends join and all like that, and that's totally fine. That's cool. Or you got people who are doing FKTs and like so yeah, I think that's the cool part. This sport is still like specializing. I look at rock climbing, and rock climbing is a really good example of this. There are so many disciplines in rock climbing,
Yeah.
and you talk to a boulder or a trad or alpinist, they're completely different athletes. They are so different, like personality and their build and everything. And like we still we're still kind of figuring this out. I think it's happening. So yeah.
Ooh, that's something cool too. Like, will we
Mhm.
see like the ultra kind of separate from like the mountain trail, like some of this, like the sub stuff, right?
Yeah.
Or how will the, more sky runner mountain athletes kind of like separate too? I don't know. It's cool where you can
Yeah.
see, or the track people, like where this 24-hour stuff, like how does that
Yeah.
fit in? Yeah, there's a lot of like disciplines which can separate out and like be their own thing moving forward, which would be kind of cool.
Yeah. 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 It's there for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't put myself up against like a Golden Trail athlete. They're so different. And I mean, I'm always curious, well, what if they did 100K or 100 milers? Like what would happen too? Some of them would do great. And I don't know. I don't know if some of them would break down or who's to say. But yeah, it's always interesting to think about it that way.
I got a question off that. So you ran last year. You jumped in the Broken Arrow VK.
Yeah.
Are you just a little sub ultra curious?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
That was kind of like a workout and definitely got very humbled for sure. I was also coming from like almost sea level to up there, but I think my resting heart rate was like 120, so not a good
Yeah.
start. But yeah, no, I mean it kicked my ass for sure. I think it would be it's so funny. It's like a different mind state, and I find like sub ultra, it's like, do people in sub ultra just have this like mental grit that is attuned to like really sharp pain? Like really, really sharp, intense pain. Whereas for more ultra, it's like, are we more crafted towards the pain? That's just like it's there for a long time, but it's not as intense. So yeah, it's kind of like, is this a personality thing? Obviously, there's like different muscle fibers and all the training and stuff. But yeah, I will say when I was young and first getting into cross country, I was always like into the longer distances. And even though I still at that time was talented with short track stuff, he just never like really connected with me, whether it was like spiritually or emotionally. But yeah, I think for me, even going into this conversation, I was like, well, for FKTs, I will say I would be much more likely to be like, yeah, I want to go try that sub ultra FKT for sure, like an up down mountain or something like that. I mean, most of the FKTs that I have tried are sub ultra, so I think I'll keep doing that. I think the actual races are maybe a bit intimidating, and I would just need to go in with that headspace of like, yeah, if I'm top 20, that's a win.
It's so funny you say this. Okay,
Yeah.
so because I'm you, but opposite. I'll do like for an FKT, I would do something really long. I would never race a
Really?
100 miler or even 100K. I barely
Wow.
would even race a 50K. But like the sub ultra stuff, I absolutely love because I don't know, it's that pain. I like love that being able to like hurt so bad, but only hurt for like an hour to 2 hours. But like for an FKT, I would really be open to doing something like an 100K distance. Like it wouldn't even
Wow.
I'd be totally fine with it. So it's funny how like different athletes like have different like approach. Will have a different approach to that when it comes to like the way they think about racing versus FKTs. I was going to ask you about what was it, the Mauna Lea? Is that the volcano that you did? The up down
Mauna Kea.
FKT Halakea? Is that it? I don't remember.
Monica,
Mauna
yeah.
Kea, that's it, in Hawaii. That must have been
Yeah.
super cool. I was just in Hawaii in I think it was October, November, and
Nice.
I was like, dude, I got to go back and run some of these trails. I was in Maui, so that it was like
Yeah.
more dirt roads.
Yeah.
And then I got sick and didn't get a chance to
Yeah.
really run, unfortunately. But
Oh,
tell
shit.
me about your experience. Like, how was it?
Yeah. Yeah, the Mauna Kea, it's like, you go from sea level to what is it, above 14,000 feet? Yeah,
Maybe. I don't
it's
know. Yeah, it's pretty
it's
high.
It's pretty high. It's like, technically the world's largest mountain if you consider like the underwater part as well. So yeah, you definitely get some solid altitude um effects if you've been on Hawaii for a while, or depending on where you're coming from, or all those things. So yeah, I was there for like a training camp kind of vacation, and I we had first tried to bike up it, got rained out, and then I did an attempt for the FKT, did not get it the 1 week. Yeah, I got it. It's like so hard to breathe up there, and I was not in like optimal fitness or anything like that. And then, you try something, and then it was just like on my mind for a week after, and we were still there. So, took another crack at it, and everything went a lot more smoothly. And even like my partner at the time, I think he ended up supporting me, and we just had like a much more dialed plan. So I will, yeah, for FKTs, try to give them two cracks at the very least, especially when you're like traveling, if you can. Yeah, you learn and everything. Yeah, I think that time for sure can come down some more.
It was like 230 something. Yeah, 234, 232, or 238. I can't remember. It was something in there.
Yeah, something on there. I think the downhill, like I love a fast downhill. I will just fly down, and the uphill could be improved by quite a bit though. It's really sandy. It's like I have a friend who's just going there, and I was like, "Oh, try and do the Mauna Kea FKT." I was like, maybe bring poles, because it's like you're walking in quicksand, and you just keep it. It's just really hard to get traction without losing energy. So
Interesting.
yeah, there's a few sweet FKTs over in the Hawaiian Islands.
Is there anything that speaks to you, like for an up down or like an ascent or anything like that, that like that's sub ultra realm that like you'd have any interest in? Like anything that you think you might take a crack at in the coming years?
You probably know what I'm going to say. I mean, yeah, I did hang out. I did hang out in the Tetons for a bit, and uh, I think the first time I went up the Grand, and I was with Connor and Michelino, and I was like, "Oh, should I just go for the FKT right now?" Like just kind of joshing with them. I think we ended up doing. Connor made it into an FKT. We did the Grand, Middle, and South all in one day, and we had like a decent pace, but we still had like a pizza party on the top of, I think, like two or three of them. But yeah. So yeah, I would love to go after the Grand, and I think it is iconic, and it's cool that like Emily and some very strong ladies have some sweet times on it, and you do have to train for the altitude, so you gotta kind of live around there or somewhere high for a bit. And then I think the technicality, when I first watched, there's like the classic videos of Anton and Killian
So cool.
checking it out.
So iconic. Yeah.
Yeah. I was apprehensive before getting on it. I was like, oh, this looks way too sketchy and everything. And then after, when I went up there, I was like, oh no, like I think the downhill, the coming off, making sure that you're being safer on people and all of that would be the main part where I'd be like, yeah, okay, this is kind of dangerous for sure. But the exposure and everything it feels pretty good.
I was going to ask you, I was a little apprehensive. I wasn't sure if I was going to, because I kind of didn't bait you on it, but I wanted to see if you'd say it. Just because, like, I don't know, for you, it kind of fits very well, having been out there for a period of time, getting to see the route, and then also, like, having a climbing background. Like, I feel like it's a very specific skill set you need. Like, not anybody can go attempt something like that. I feel like you actually have to, like, know how to climb, like, in one way, shape, or form. Like, not your average, like, runner with, like, high running skills could go do that. Like, you need to know it, like, have some technical background. Plus, it's a hard thing to project as well. Like, I feel like it takes a long time to have to figure that thing out, Yeah.
I think just getting to know all all the efficiencies in that route because there are so many different ways to get up to the top. And yeah, you get up, there's just like a boulder field and everyone is going every direction. And there's guiding parties, there's people, and yeah, I think it would definitely take some time as memorizing the route. And then yeah, I think some of the other rock, whether it's like Middle Teton or Tiwanaut is another fun one to do, and those are a bit more technical. But I love that type of like scrambling, and definitely the climbing background, it just helps with like exposure, and then definitely just like your movement fluidity over rock and spatial awareness for
It's
sure.
funny if you don't do it for a long, like I don't scramble very often, and I was in
Mhm.
Boulder for a photo shoot like 2 weeks
Yeah.
ago, and
Yeah.
like I got up on like a scramble, and I looked like I'm fine going up, and I looked down and like had a borderline panic attack. I was like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like
Oh,
this is, I
no.
was like, pull together, pull together. Don't be that guy in front of the photographer and your peers. Like just carefully scramble down. But yeah, if you don't do it for that much, I'm like, man, I've been running for too long. I need to like
Mhm.
go like mess around on some rock and like or get in the climbing gym because I don't know. I feel like if you don't do it for a long time, you definitely lose that skill. I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's definitely it is a skill that you need to keep up. And yeah, I mean, I was kind of similar to you going into this 2024 summer. And then yeah, just hanging on the Tetons, scrambling a fair bit. And then a lot of my solo runs, I would started to scramble as well. And it's always like, "Ooh, sorry, mom," like it does add to it, like solo scrambling. And I'm not usually a fan because even as a climber, I still see scrambling as like in many ways more dangerous than true rock climbing. Just things can happen, rocks can pull out, and no matter how skilled you are at climbing, scrambling, still a lot of people die from it for sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
Boulder's weird because we have that like weird culture of it, you know.
yeah,
I shouldn't say we because I'm not a Boulderite, but like there is like a weird culture of it where it's like it's like their thing. Like
it is their
scrambling.
thing.
Yeah. It's just
Yeah,
different.
it is. Yeah, it was fun hanging out in Boulder, and it's like a big jungle gym for sure. But yeah, I could see how if you've been there for a long time and, hearing about how like the groups will do like races up some of the rocks, and you look at the Strava segments and the times that people have on some of those rocks, it's pretty insane.
Dude,
And
Kyle Richardson's
yeah.
like part man, part chimp. I don't know how he does it. Like it's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So we're at like an hour and a half. I'm gonna start winding us down a little bit. Getting to some ending questions. I'm curious who inspires you.
Hmm. That is a good question. Um, yeah, I think a few people come to mind. For the ladies out there, I really admire um, athletes that kind of like lead with authenticity. So I just see that in, I think I'd say like Ruth Croft. I've had great competitive camaraderie with Abby Hall in the past. Um, I mean, Courtney DeWalter, who's like sparkling um, in Transgrant Canary, it will forever stick with me. She offered me her poles when my pole was like kind of broken.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
Yeah, really special. But yeah, Ruth Croft, I think she's just like super real. And I mean, even when I bump into her on the trail, she's very humble, but then just super badass. And she's had a very long career. And yeah, I think those are the people that really speak to me. And um, yeah, I could probably give a lot more. Other athletes, Hazel Finlay, she's actually a climber, but just she's faces fear like full on, and then she's just going into motherhood right now. It's always cool to watch. And then I think just all the athletes too that are like multisport as well. Yeah. Um, People who are into like skiing, running, climbing. Um, there's that versatility, and then embracing the seasons for what they are as well is really awesome.
You'd mentioned authenticity. I'm curious
Mhm.
to see like what that. I talk about this a lot because it drives me crazy, both as a podcast host and as an athlete in the sport. Like, I always like want people to be their true selves, and it's hard, especially on social media, because it's a weird outlet. It's like trying to pull that out of people or see people try to be them true selves is very to kind of like navigate through that. Like, what does authenticity mean to you?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
hard question.
No, I mean, it is definitely hard with social media and whatnot, and adding in the layer of being like, whether it's a public figure or professional athlete, it's like, all right, what filters do we need to put on in terms of like upholding some credibility, and but still being able to like connect with people in the community. So I fully like recognize that for sure. I think for me, it's like speaking your truth. And, if you get injured, it's like coming to terms with that. And when you're ready, like being vulnerable about it and just being super real. Um, or, you know, whether it's any sort of hardship. And um, yeah, I mean, I could even name like Elsie Davis. I remember when I first got into trail running, I came across her Instagram profile, and this is before she was even with the North Face. But she was just so real with her journey, and she had had like stress fractures, and obviously was like figuring out her fueling and her training and everything. And yeah, that to me, it was like, oh, this is someone who I want to follow. And this is someone whose journey I want to like see how she overcomes this. And um, I mean, even still, she's like very, very just real about her life. And yeah, I guess on the flip side, um, either when everything is perfect, or um, people not really living aligned with their values, or what they say that their values are. Uh, that I guess it just like it's a bit of a red flag. And um, yeah, um, just want to. um, I think too, one thing I've experienced as a female athlete, it's like coming into the sport, some people are going to be like behind your back and really want to like, be stoked for your journey, and hopefully vice versa. And one thing I realized, like not everyone is going to be, might be nice to you in your face, but then like behind your back, that support is not there. It's the opposite. So um yeah, it's something that I'm still navigating, and I don't know if it's like coming from um I don't know, insecurities, or maybe it's something on me, or whatever. But and I don't know if it's more of a female thing, or if men also experience it. But yeah, and that's just why like authenticity is super important to me. It's like cool if this person is like open and humble, and like they're having a great conversation with me, like they mean it and they mean well. Yeah, but a little bit sad to say, like I have experienced the opposite. And yeah, I think it's just sometimes happens with sport.
Yeah.
So
It's interesting, right? Like you can always tell when you meet somebody very real. Like it
Mhm.
sticks with you, and you're like, yeah,
Mhm.
that's a real one, you know.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you do. There is a lot of people. I don't know. It's in all sport, I think, but yeah,
Mhm.
you do meet a lot of people that are like, yeah, it's. I don't know. It's different at the professional level too. I think it's more so at the level of people trying to get into the professional realm, where you meet a lot of people trying to be someone else and not find their
Mhm.
authentic voice. And I always like that. Not that it's a red flag. I don't really care. It's just that like something I identify because I talk to like
Mhm.
a big mix of people, and it's like sometimes you see
Yeah.
people on social media, and it's like, man, like I just be one of one. That's the best example. That's the best advice I always
Mhm.
give people is like just be you, but be one of one. Don't try to
Mhm.
be somebody else, and that's how you get to whatever level you want to get to.
Yeah, exactly. Very well put.
Music. I want to talk about music. Like, why, if you're
Okay.
getting ready for a hard effort, you're getting ready for a race, like, especially because you run these long distance races, like, are you ever popping in music and like, what's the favorite song? Like, what's the
Oh,
pump
hell
up
yeah.
song?
Definitely. Yes. Right now, Doja Cat is on repeat.
All right. All right.
She's my girl. No, yeah, no, she does put out some pretty rad music. Yeah. And no, I think for like workouts and some long runs, I'll definitely have some tunes going for sure. And yeah, I have to laugh because my old coach, Dave Stevens, he's like super into music and he always puts out like a playlist like at least once a month. And there's some very good tracks on there. It just got me through like an indoor workout, so that's a good testament. And yeah, I pretty like house dancey music for sure for workouts. But these days, like with Spotify, I mean, it's just like you're continually seeing new artists all the time. So when people ask me like, who's your favorite artist right now? It's like there's just so much that maybe it just goes with our whole ADHD issue these days with having information overload. But yeah, I will say I'll like slow down and have some good folk music or road tunes and all like that. Um, I have not yet listened to music during a race
What? So
because
you'll get to like
yeah.
mile 60, 61, and you're like, you have to listen to your own breathing and like remaining. I would like die if I had to listen to my own thoughts
Yeah.
and my own breathing for 60 miles. That would drive me nuts. I
Yeah. Yeah. I need to try it at some point.
feel like it's good therapy
Maybe
though, just being in your own head for that long. It could be good. It could be bad. I don't know.
yeah, yeah. I guess I'm in race, I'm like I just like to hear what's around me, and especially if there was someone behind me, I'd want to know. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
oh,
fair.
that would be such a terrible thing. Like you have some tunes on and you're like, yeah, this is great. And then you
Someone
get
zips past
past.
you.
Like, no, that'd be horrible. Yeah. And then like AirPods, my AirPods are like, if you ever lose your AirPods and you're like kind of freaking out and try to find them. I've done that too many times with the Find My Whatever app. Um, yeah, I just don't want to lose them. So,
That's fair. That's fair. It's a good answer. All
yeah.
right. All right. Seriously, not so serious question. Oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna go Bigfoot or aliens. Let's go aliens. Do you believe in aliens?
Ooh. I mean, something's got to be out there. It's just so vast. There's got to be something out there. Maybe it's like light years away. Yeah. Um, I had in university, I had a friend who studied um, astronomy, and he would just like figure out crazy equations while we'd be like at a party or something. And yeah, we would sometimes have this conversation, and there's got to be something out there for sure. For
What's your take?
sure.
All right, I gotta ask you, Bigfoot. Like, do you believe in Bigfoot? You think he's real?
They're alive and well out definitely Pacific Northwest, Washington, in the Kootenays. Last I heard they were like teleporting and
Oh hell yeah.
yeah, they're pretty advanced now, apparently.
They're out there, man. They're out there. I'm a believer. I want to believe at least, that they're running around and hanging out.
Yeah. I just saw that there's like a Bigfoot yelling competition.
I saw this on Instagram.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, it was great.
Some real talent out there. Like some guys and gals can really, they can really vocalize.
Yeah. He was like Chewbacca and
Yeah.
just all sorts. So highly recommend watching that.
Well, listen, Jazmine, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is an amazing conversation. Honor and a privilege to have a convo. And I'm wishing you the best of luck in your 2025 season. And let's definitely catch up after and enjoy it. And congratulations on joining the Arc'teryx team, and excited for what the future holds.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Just going to go with the flow and just wishing everyone some happy trails out there.
Absolutely. Thank you. What'd you guys think? Oh man, what a fun episode. I want to thank Jazmine so much for coming on the podcast. What a fun conversation. Before you guys get going, do me a favor, hop on Instagram and give her a follow. You can find her at Jazmine Lowther. That's Jazmine, Jazmine _WL. Sorry. Oof, that was bad. Jazmine _LOWTHER. Give her a follow. Let her know what you guys thought about the episode. I'm sure she would really appreciate your words of kindness. Also, if you're interested in coaching, Jazmine does have a coaching business. I'm not sure how filled up for coaching spots or if she has any coaching spots available, but if you're interested, send her a DM. I'm sure she would appreciate it. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, give us a 5-star rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you consume your podcasts. That's how we can continue to get these episodes out and tell these amazing stories of these incredible athletes out to the world. And that's all I got for you. Guys, have a great weekend. Have a good long run. Have a good workout, whatever you got going on. It's getting warm. Starting to get warm here, at least in Colorado. So hopefully things start warming up around the country so we can get some good training in. So, all right, guys, enjoy yourself. Thanks so much.